99% of men never hear this. Within the first hour of waking up, your body either sets you up for strong, lasting performance or quietly chips away at it. Every single morning, whether you realize it or not, your choices decide whether your circulation sharpens or stalls, whether your energy ignites or fizzles, whether your confidence rises or quietly slips into the background. The truth is, for millions of men over 40, that first hour is the most important window of the day, and it's being wasted. You wake up feeling stiff, foggy, less present, and you assume it's just age. But what if that wasn't true? What if your manhood hasn't faded? It's just been silenced by a series of overlooked habits you repeat every morning without even thinking. For most men, performance problems don't begin in the bedroom. They begin the moment your feet hit the floor. What's really happening is your internal systems, circulation, hormones, neurological rhythm, are receiving the wrong inputs. Inputs that reduce nitric oxide, stiffen blood vessels, block testosterone, and throw off the very balance that once made you feel alive, capable, and deeply connected to yourself and your partner. My name is Dr. Caroline Ruth. I'm a men's health specialist with over 20 years of experience helping thousands of men restore performance, energy, and confidence using science-backed strategies, not pills, not gimmicks. And in this video, I'll show you a powerful 4-step morning routine that's helped hundreds of my patients completely transform their energy, circulation, and drive, sometimes in just days. These steps take less than 30 minutes. They're simple, natural, and require no equipment. But the impact they have on your blood flow, testosterone sensitivity, and vascular health is real and measurable. And if you stay with me to the end, I'll reveal one subtle morning adjustment that helped a 67-year-old client regain full, consistent performance within just 7 days. No drugs, no embarrassment, just the right signal at the right time. If you care about your strength, your energy, and reclaiming your presence as a man, hit subscribe and tap the bell. This channel is your space for real, practical men's health solutions that work. And before we dive in, tell me in the comments, are you ready to rebuild from the inside out? Just type yes if you're ready to start. And if not, that's okay. Type no. And let me know what you're still searching for. Now, let's cut through the biggest lie in men's health. That declining performance is just about aging. It's not. Your manhood depends on healthy blood flow. Every signal, every response, every rise in confidence begins with the ability of your vessels to open, expand, and deliver oxygen-rich blood where it counts. When that system slows, everything suffers. Drive, clarity, intimacy, even motivation. The number one cause? A condition called endothelial dysfunction. That's when the inner lining of your blood vessels stops working properly. It produces less nitric oxide, the key molecule that tells arteries to relax and open. Without it, blood can't move freely. Arteries stiffen. Performance suffers. And the worst part? Most men are given pills that mask the symptom instead of fixing the cause. It doesn't have to be that way. Let me tell you about a man named Thomas. He's 65. When he came to see me, he was quiet, withdrawn, frustrated. He said, "It's like someone turned down the volume on my body." His energy was low. His mornings felt like a slog. He'd distanced himself from his wife. He assumed it was just age until we looked at his routine. What we found was that he was unknowingly sabotaging his vascular system every single morning. And once we changed that, just a few simple steps, his results were dramatic. He returned after 2 weeks and told me, "I feel plugged back in." That's the power of morning circulation. And it's not just anecdotal. Research shows that your body's ability to produce nitric oxide is at its peak within the first 2 hours of waking. Your testosterone is naturally higher, your blood vessels are more responsive. But if you don't support them in that window, you lose the advantage. In fact, studies show that erectile dysfunction often appears 3 to 5 years before cardiovascular disease, making it one of the earliest warning signs that your blood flow is in trouble. This isn't just about performance. It's about your heart, your brain, your longevity. By your 60s, your blood vessel dilation capacity can drop by more than 50%. That's a steep decline, but it's not permanent. Endothelial cells, the ones that produce nitric oxide, respond quickly to the right signals, especially in the morning. That's why what you do in the first hour after waking is either a slow poison or a biological reset. And yet, most men start their day with a triple threat: dehydration, cortisol overload, and inactivity. You roll out of bed, grab your phone, scan stress-filled news, drink coffee on an empty stomach, maybe skip breakfast or eat processed carbs, and then sit. That chain of actions tells your system: constrict, inflame, suppress. Blood gets thicker from dehydration. Testosterone gets blocked by cortisol. Nitric oxide never gets triggered. And all the while, you think you just woke up tired. What you're really doing is switching off the very systems that once made you feel strong. But here's the good news. You can flip that script, starting tomorrow morning. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You just need to replace 4 key habits, each designed to do one thing: restore your manhood by restoring your circulation, hormones, and energy systems. It starts with light, then breath, then movement, then fuel. Each step takes less than 10 minutes, but together they create a compound effect that wakes up your system, jumpstarts nitric oxide, resets testosterone signaling, and re-engages your nervous system with the body you've been missing. And in the next section, I'll walk you through exactly how to do it, step by step. Step 1 is sunlight exposure, 10 to 15 minutes of direct morning light within the first hour of waking. Sounds simple, right? But this one act flips on your body's entire hormonal command center. We're not talking about artificial light through a window or the soft glow of your bedroom lamp. We're talking real, full-spectrum, natural sunlight. Even on a cloudy day, the light outside exceeds 10,000 lux compared to a few hundred indoors. When your skin and eyes receive this input, your body releases nitric oxide, which instantly begins expanding blood vessels. At the same time, your brain's master clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, resets your circadian rhythm. Testosterone, cortisol, dopamine, and melatonin all get back into sync. And here's where it gets interesting. A study published in Hormone and Metabolic Research found that men who were exposed to consistent morning sunlight saw an increase in testosterone of up to 25% in just 2 weeks. That's not marketing. That's biology. And for older men, that number is a game changer. When you combine sunlight exposure with just a few minutes of light movement, like walking, gentle stretching, or standing breath work, you double the benefit. It tells your vascular system, we're active now. Deliver blood, oxygenate the body, turn on the systems. I had a patient named David. He was 62, recently retired, and complained of sluggish mornings, brain fog, and a dip in confidence that was starting to affect his relationship. I asked him one simple question. What's the first thing you see in the morning? His answer? His phone screen. We swapped that habit. No more scrolling. Instead, he stepped outside with his coffee. No sunglasses. No screens. Just sunlight and 10 minutes of fresh air. Within 10 days, he said he was waking up with more energy and even noticed a return of morning vitality he hadn't felt in months. That's not a coincidence. That's a nervous system reboot. Step 2 builds on the first. Now that you've triggered light and movement, it's time to activate your vagus nerve and expand your vascular pathways even further. This is where diaphragmatic breathing, also known as belly breathing, comes in. 5 minutes. That's all it takes. Inhale through your nose for 6 seconds. Hold it for 2. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6. Repeat that cycle 5 times a minute. You want your belly to rise and fall, not your chest. This signals to your nervous system: calm, recover, restore. But more than that, it stimulates nitric oxide production in your nasal passages and lungs. That nitric oxide then gets released into your bloodstream, allowing arteries to relax and widen. The result? More oxygen-rich blood delivered to muscles, organs, and, yes, your reproductive system. A paper in the Journal of Applied Physiology showed that controlled nasal breathing increases nitric oxide levels by up to 20% in just minutes. That's a major lever, especially when stacked with light exposure. I had a client, Marcus, who was skeptical of just breathing. He was 58, worked in finance, and described himself as always wired. Sleep was poor, stress was high. He was constantly tense and had no idea why he felt so disconnected from his body. We added 5 minutes of morning diaphragmatic breathing, right after sunlight exposure. Within 2 weeks, he said something he hadn't said in years. "I feel grounded." His blood pressure dropped, his mood stabilized, and the tension that once followed him into every conversation started to disappear. Why? Because when your parasympathetic nervous system activates, cortisol levels drop, testosterone absorption improves, and blood vessels return to their natural state: open, pliable, flowing. When you breathe correctly, you're not just relaxing, you're changing your chemistry. And that sets the stage for step 3, activation. Once your blood is circulating, your hormones are waking, and your nervous system is centered, it's time to give your body a reason to produce testosterone. And the best way to do that isn't a full gym workout, it's one focused microset of a compound movement. Just 8 to 12 reps of one major exercise: bodyweight squats, push-ups, or step-ups. This is not about fatigue, it's about signal. Testosterone responds to demand, especially in the form of resistance applied to large muscle groups. And when done first thing in the morning, the effect is amplified. Why? Because your testosterone is already elevated naturally between 6 and 9 a.m. When you combine that hormonal peak with a physical trigger, your body gets the message loud and clear: strength still matters. A study in endocrinology and metabolism found that men who performed short, high-resistance body movements in the morning had up to 20% higher free testosterone levels over time compared to those who trained later in the day. The reason? Timing. Your body is more sensitive to hormone modulation in the morning, and when you give it that nudge with a compound movement, it activates fast. One of my favorite stories comes from Greg, a 71-year-old former contractor. He hadn't exercised in years and was dealing with fatigue, poor balance, and the loss of that spark he used to feel when he looked in the mirror. We started with one simple instruction: do 10 squats every morning, holding onto the edge of the bed for balance if needed. That's it. Within 4 weeks, he came back smiling. "I feel solid," he said. "Like my legs belong to me again." That feeling of strength returning to your body is the first sign that circulation is improving and testosterone is activating. And that's exactly what this step is designed to do. Remind your body that you're still capable, and to prepare it for the next critical step: fueling your manhood with the nutrients it needs to function. But before we move to step 4, let's pause here and connect the dots. You've now aligned three critical systems in your body: your hormonal rhythm through sunlight, your nervous system through breathing, and your vascular and muscular signals through movement. These aren't random wellness hacks. They are timed biological levers that, when pulled in the right order, create a cascade of healing and reactivation. And all of it happens in less than 25 minutes. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need supplements, yet. What you need is consistency. Because the male body doesn't just decline. It adapts, and when you give it the right signals in the right sequence, it doesn't just stabilize. It regenerates. In the next section, we'll complete the loop with Step 4, a targeted testosterone-boosting breakfast that delivers the raw materials your body needs to fuel performance, recovery, and blood flow. This is where most men get it wrong. They either skip breakfast entirely or load their system with sugar and caffeine, creating a crash that blocks testosterone and spikes inflammation. But with the right food at the right time, you can turn breakfast into your most powerful performance supplement. I'll show you exactly how. Step 4 is where everything comes together, because now your system is primed. The light has awakened your hormones, the breath has expanded your vessels, and the movement has triggered strength signals. What your body needs now is fuel. Not just calories, but the specific nutrients that support testosterone production, nitric oxide synthesis, and inflammation control. This is the moment most men accidentally undo all the work they've just done. They either skip breakfast entirely, grab a coffee and a pastry, or eat something processed that sends their insulin skyrocketing and crashes their testosterone within hours. You cannot fuel manhood with sugar and caffeine alone. You need real inputs: clean proteins, healthy fats, micronutrients like zinc, magnesium, boron, and vitamin D3. Think of this meal as the raw material your system uses to build hormones, generate energy, and sustain performance throughout the day. Here's a simple, effective example that works for almost every man I've worked with. 2 or 3 scrambled eggs cooked in olive oil, half an avocado, a handful of spinach sautéed lightly, and a small bowl of mixed berries. Blueberries, raspberries, or blackberries. This meal does several critical things at once. The eggs provide high-quality cholesterol, which is the direct precursor to testosterone. Avocados give you monounsaturated fats and boron, which supports free testosterone. Spinach delivers magnesium and nitrates for blood vessel health. Berries provide antioxidants that reduce vascular inflammation. And the olive oil? It aids absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like D and E. If you're someone who doesn't get consistent sun exposure, or if your last blood work showed low vitamin D levels, this is the time to add in a D3 supplement. Between 800 and 2000 IU taken with food has been shown to raise testosterone significantly in deficient men. One study published in Clinical Endocrinology found that vitamin D supplementation raised testosterone by over 20% in just 12 weeks. But the key is timing. Take it with food, preferably your first meal, so it absorbs fully. And make sure that meal is low in sugar and high in nutrient density. You don't need a gourmet kitchen. You don't need 45 minutes of prep time. Most of my clients prep this in under 10 minutes. It's fast, functional, and repeatable. What it does is reinforce everything your morning routine has already set in motion. Your blood vessels are open. Your brain is alert, your testosterone is rising, this meal locks it in, and when you do this sequence consistently, light, breath, movement, fuel, your biology begins to trust the pattern. The systems that once felt dormant start turning back on. I had a client, Brian, who was 66 and struggling with what he called a total crash by 11 a.m. He was skipping breakfast, living on coffee, and feeling defeated before lunch. We changed one thing. We gave his body the fuel it needed after his morning activation. Within 2 weeks, he reported more stable energy, better mood, and a surprising return of morning arousal that had been missing for over a year. That wasn't coincidence. That was biochemistry working the way it's supposed to. You see, the male body doesn't fail. It adapts. When it senses deprivation, it conserves. When it senses danger, it shuts down non-essential systems, including reproductive function. But when it receives consistent signals of safety, nourishment, and strength, it reactivates. Testosterone production increases. Nitric oxide flows. Drive returns, not just sexually, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. This is why I say manhood isn't something you lose. It's something that waits for the right conditions to return. And that's what this 4-step routine creates. Now, let's bring it together in one clear, actionable protocol. Wake up. No phone. No stimulation. Just silence and intention. Let your room be quiet. Let your mind wake up with your body. By 6:30 a.m., step outside or near a window with the light open. If possible, get direct sunlight into your eyes and skin. No sunglasses, no screen. Even 5 minutes will start the process. If you can walk during that time, even better. Let your body move gently. This signals to your brain that it's time to engage, to circulate, to perform. At 6:40 or 6:45, sit or lie down and begin diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale for 6 seconds. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Repeat for 5 minutes. Feel your belly rise, not your chest. Let calm settle in. Your heart rate will lower. Your cortisol will drop. Your blood vessels will open. Nitric oxide will begin to surge. At 6:50, move into your microset. Choose one movement. Push-ups, squats, step-ups. Do 8 to 12 reps slowly. Focus on control, not exhaustion. If needed, modify. Wall push-ups, chair squats. Just move. Let your muscles activate. Let strength return to the body. At 6:55, prepare your breakfast. Eggs, avocado, greens, berries, protein, fats, fiber, the raw material for your hormones. If needed, take vitamin D3 with this meal. Hydrate with a glass of water and a pinch of sea salt. No sugar, no processed food, no blood sugar spike. This is your foundation. By 7:15 a.m., you're finished. Your body is aligned, your mind is awake. Your system is running on its natural fuel, not caffeine and adrenaline, but biology and balance. And over time, this routine begins to create a new rhythm. One where mornings no longer feel like a struggle, where intimacy doesn't feel distant, and where confidence returns, not from a bottle, but from within. I want to be clear. This is not a hack. This is a restoration. A recalibration of systems that have always been there, but have been buried under years of stress, poor habits, misinformation, and silence. Manhood isn't something you perform. It's something you embody. And when your biology aligns with your intentions, everything starts to shift. Not overnight, but consistently, quietly, powerfully. In the next section, we'll explore the deeper science behind how each of these 4 steps works, how nitric oxide changes within minutes of exposure to light and breath, how testosterone responds to microsignals of strength, and how diet influences vascular tone and inflammatory markers in real time. If you understand the why beneath the what, you're more likely to stay consistent. And consistency, more than anything else, is what brings lasting results. If you've come this far, you already have what it takes. You've seen the map, now let's make it permanent. Now let's talk about keeping this alive. Because real transformation doesn't come from one great day, it comes from sustainable rhythm. From the quiet decision to repeat something small and powerful every single morning, even when no one's watching. You've seen how the 4 steps, sunlight, breath, movement, and nourishment, each serve a distinct biological purpose. Together, they reawaken systems that age, stress, and neglect have muted. But as powerful as your morning routine is, there's one more layer that amplifies its results, one that men often overlook: your evening rhythm. You see, morning performance doesn't start in the morning, it starts the night before. The quality of your sleep determines your hormonal peak, your mental clarity, and your energy reservoir. If you're waking groggy, even after a good morning routine, chances are your night is working against you. That's why I recommend a 20-minute wind-down ritual to every man over 40. Turn off screens at least an hour before bed. Dim the lights. Read. Breathe. Let your cortisol fall naturally. Avoid alcohol, heavy meals, or stimulation late at night. Your body needs this contrast. Just like you rise into light, you need to descend into darkness. That descent signals melatonin release, deepens REM cycles, and stabilizes the testosterone surge that occurs between 3 and 6 a.m. Miss that surge? You miss your natural hormonal rhythm for the day. And here's a little-known truth. Testosterone isn't just built in the morning, it's restored overnight. That's why sleep isn't a luxury. It's fuel. Now imagine the compound effect. You end the day with calm, go to bed with aligned hormones, wake up with restored energy, and re-enter your 4-step morning with power. That's not a routine anymore. That's a rhythm. And rhythm is where vitality lives. This is how men in their 60s begin to feel like they're 45 again. Not because they're chasing youth, but because they've returned to physiological balance. I've seen this play out over and over. Men who felt written off, dismissed by generic pills and advice, suddenly come back to life. And it always starts the same way, not with a product, but with a pattern. The truth is, your body isn't failing. It's just reacting to the signals you send. Send it the right ones, consistently, and it will do what it was always meant to do: heal, restore, and perform. One of my clients, Anil, was 68 when we started. He told me, "I feel like I'm losing myself, and I don't want to go quietly." That stuck with me, because he spoke for so many men who feel like their best days are behind them, not because they've given up, but because no one ever gave them the right roadmap forward. Anil did the routine: sunlight, breath, movement, breakfast, every day, for 30 days. He missed 2 mornings. That's it. By day 17, he texted me, "Woke up early, no alarm. Energy solid. Felt aroused again, for no reason." By day 28, he said he started flirting again, not because he had to, because he felt like it. That's the signal we're after. Not just function, but desire. Not just survival, but aliveness. That's the deeper promise of this routine. Not just more energy or better blood flow, but the return of something every man deserves to feel again: a connection to his own strength. You won't get that from a single supplement. You won't get it from another miracle pill. You get it by showing up for yourself, every day, with intention, with structure, and with belief that your biology is still listening, because it is. Even after years of silence, even after months of feeling dull, even after decades of being told it's just aging, your body still wants to respond. You just have to lead it. And that starts not with doing everything perfectly, but by getting 80% of this right, 80% of the time. Forget perfection. Perfection burns out. Rhythm builds. So what's next? You've seen the science. You've heard the stories. You know what to do. Now it's about practice. Start tomorrow. Wake with intention. Step outside. Breathe. Move. Nourish. Stay consistent. Track how you feel, not just physically, but emotionally. Notice your posture. Notice your confidence. Watch what shifts. And then, stay with it. Because the longer you give your body these signals, the more it remembers what it was built for. Strength, presence, desire, power, and yes, performance. But above all, the sense that you are in your body again. Capable, connected, fully present. That's manhood reawakened. And the best part? It doesn't fade when the pills run out or the product stops working. It stays. Because it was always yours. You just had to reclaim it. So here's your call to action. Take back your mornings. Build the rhythm. Let the system rebuild. And watch what happens when your biology catches up with your belief. You don't need a new version of yourself. You just need the original one, restored. Strong mornings lead to strong days. Strong days lead to strong lives. And strong lives? They start the moment you say, I'm ready. Now go live that choice. And if this video helped you, hit subscribe. Tomorrow, I'll walk you through the 5 foods that double your nitric oxide naturally and help your performance continue to rise. Tap the bell so you don't miss it. Now go make tomorrow your strongest morning yet.